Good evening, fellow netizens of our lovely continent called Africa. We're so glad to be back on air. It's a Wednesday, 8 o'clock, and we're here on eNitiate Visual Radio.
It's the third month of 2015, and we're still here, Vince West and Brawili, for eNitiate Visual Radio, broadcasting live from Johannesburg, South Africa. And we are at home right here on www.radiojunto.co.za.
And we're loving it. My name is Brawili. You can get hold of me on most of the social networks. I'm on at least 4 of them. Just look out for Brawili _UNLTD. Brawili _UNLTD.
I'm also live on Instagram, Facebook, and I'm a bit slow on Twitter rather. And my only reason is because I'm slow. It's not that I'm not active, it's just that I'm slow on Twitter, because Twitter can be very fast. I'm sure somebody out there agrees with me. So you can look out for me as Vince West, and that's me. I'm part of the Initiators, which is a group of enthusiastic young people. We operate from an office in Woodmead, the northern part of Johannesburg, and we are a team of 6 individuals, and we are growing so fast that I am not able to keep up.
Absolutely, and the energy levels are so high in the office right now, Vince. And to everybody who doesn't know what we do, we are a content marketing team. We basically help brands establish a digital footprint in the most effective way, and we do so using 3 key strategic pillars. The first one being online listening. We do lots and lots of that, and you will get the evidence of it when we get into the content for tonight. We also do lots of engaging. That's the second pillar. And here we're talking about content development, publishing, and also engaging on the various online platforms. The third one is measuring. Unless we can measure it, we don't do it.
So don't take our word for it. You can go online on www.eNitiate. Initiate is spelled E for electricity, NITIATE.solutions. That's where you can come across most of our case studies, most of our blog posts, because we are expressing ourselves through blogging.
Absolutely, and it's one activity that we do lots and lots of. We will talk about the blogging activity that we've been busy with in the past 7 days. So yeah, visit our site, look out for the things that we talk about, and also get to learn more about us.
We were discussing earlier with Brawili as we were manually commuting through the CBD earlier today when we were manually commuting through the CBD. We were talking about the good traffic we've been receiving on the site. It's something to definitely be happy about. Please join the traffic rush that we're experiencing and go through to our site. So how we normally do the show, we look at what we were focusing our attention and energies on at eNitiate this past 7 days, and then we look at what happened in South Africa, and then we take a continental view, and then we wrap it up with a worldwide view of all things digital and all things of importance to the African continent.
Absolutely, and I am so looking forward to tonight, Vince, because we've got awesome stuff to share.
We always do.
Absolutely, and take a ride with us. We're going to have lots of fun with you, and hopefully at the end of the show you will agree that we are definitely the team to hang with at this time of the night when it's actually primetime TV. We know that some of you are not so big on TV, even though we're seeing all sorts of interesting developments, and we will talk about that under South Africa. What is happening insofar as primetime TV is concerned?
Okay, cool. But we always have a chat lined up in the wings, and we connect with our guests through online methods. So I think we've got a guest that we've lined up via chat. But
yes, indeed.
We do. Okay. While we sort that out, what is the theme, Brawili? What are the top issues that we are looking at today to be touching on?
Basically, tonight, Vince, from an eNitiate point of view, we've got a couple of things that we want to share. First is the big reveal to the team. We spoke about this last week. We're not going to give any details because we're not at the stage where we can do a public big reveal yet. But we'll touch on it very quickly. We will then get on to blogging activity that we've been busy with the last 7 days. We will then look abroad insofar as the national landscape and speak about the 14th MetroFM Music Awards. We will touch on that and then speak about the battle of the TV soapies, and especially on prime time, during the prime time, as it were, between 7 and 9 o'clock. We will then go to Africa. We want to speak about the elections in Lesotho. We want to speak about SMWLagos, social media Lagos. Those of you who've been following us will know that we've been making lots and lots of noises about SMWLagos. We want to give you some key highlights because it happened last week. We will then touch on digital business and the whole Anglophone versus Francophone Africa. We've noticed a trend of sorts and we want to chat about it. Time allowing, we will then close with the global topic, which is how safe is free Wi-Fi. So whilst we're trying to connect with our guest of tonight, who we will be hanging out with,
let me touch on the brand revitalization.
You do that.
So at the office, we were summoned to a boardroom where I, as the operations manager of the eNitiate team, was also part of the big reveal, because I was not part of this process when it started, and what I was seeing was a first time for my eyes and for the team also. So great work went in when our great designer Melusi Shabalala and the men at the helm of eNitiate were bouncing ideas, and after a long process they came out with a big reveal. So bottom line is, eNitiate has been officially in business for the past 6 years, and the logo of the brand is based on the letter E, of course, as it says, eNitiate. The main logo of the brand was the letter E, and obviously the full logo name. So the brand has evolved over the years. So we wanted to, the man at the helm, Brawili himself, wanted to, one, share with us the expansion and the vision of the brand as it is growing, like I said earlier. And the design team had to put together a look that would reflect the brand and its aspirations and visions. What the reveal brought together were 5 new looks that will form part of the eNitiate CI, and we spoke about the pillars that hold us together, which is online listening, online engagement, and measurement and analytics of all the engagement. We now found that the brand has 5 sort of sub-brands. Okay, now there is the eNitiate Contently business, which is all about all our eNitiate content solutions. That is the foundation of it. There's the Contently side of it, and I believe the rest of the sub brands I can't give away as yet. So bottom line is that some exciting stuff is going to be coming through, because to the public we will only be revealing in May. Or is it April?
Yeah, the beginning of April.
The beginning of April. I was getting ahead of myself there, but
Yeah.
it's fine. It's fine. I only gave away one clue. I'm famous for giving away clues, eh?
That's just you, and that's why I love you so much as a co-host on this radio show.
Right.
The show where we're bringing digital Africa to the world. And we're so proud of it, me and Vincent, because we really go out of our way to find the best insights across the landscape, both offline and online. We put in our own spin because we are not reporters. We are subject matter experts, and we're good at analysis. So we package stuff so that we can bring it onto this show 8 to 9 every Wednesday, GMT +2, so we can talk about it. One thing that we wish could happen is all you netizens out there, we want you to connect with us. Connect with myself, connect with Vince. We are on social media. Connect on eNitiate
Solutions.
Social networks.
Yeah.
On Twitter, it is there _initiators. Sorry, Vince.
It's fine.
And it is initiators on Facebook. It is eNitiate _UNLTD on
Twitter.
Instagram.
Okay.
And we are also on LinkedIn. We have a business page on LinkedIn. We are on Google Plus. So link up with us. Let's have a chat. Give us your input. Tell us what you want to know. If you've got some questions that you want to ask, please feel free to do so, and we're happy to get to those questions. We have a packed show normally, so there are times when we don't get to get the time to get to this stuff during the show itself, but we promise we do check what is happening on all our timelines on an ongoing basis, and we promise we will come back to you in good time.
Okay, it's 8:13 on www.radiojunto.co.za on eNitiate Visual Radio. So one of the things that I thought maybe Brawili we could just highlight on this past week is the fact that the internet has been abuzz over a dress that everybody has been talking about. Now, everybody's been going on about, if you look up the hashtag the dress, there's a dress that everybody has been talking about, and there's been a debate about a color of a dress, whether the dress is blue and black or if this particular dress is white and gold. So, and I thought to myself, this is a very interesting story and I'd like to follow up on it. And this week when we were checking some analytics stuff, we saw that on Storyfy, the story about this whole dress has actually been storyfied, and it said to me, this is some homework for me to do. I want to put out a blog about it on Friday. But now the good thing is that we also forgot to tell them about the Storyfy page, the eNitiate Storyfy page.
Absolutely.
So we've also got a Storyfy page where you can read up on some of the stories that we have storyfied. We are eNitiate on that Storyfy page. What's our title name on?
We are the _initiators. It is our Twitter handle.
It's our Twitter handle. So look us up on Storyfy and look up the story about the dress if you want to find out any more about it. I will also go do some homework on it to make sure that on Friday I can put out something with a bit of a scientific approach. So we've told you what we were dealing with at eNitiate this past week. The AfriCities conference happening in Johannesburg.
Yeah.
It's happening from the 29th to the 3rd of December.
29th of
November.
Of November to the 3rd of December.
Yeah. I think it is something exciting that the African cities are going to be coming together in the City of Gold.
Absolutely. From a digital perspective, we will keep our ear on the ground to make sure that we bring the news to you.
Yeah, we should track it actually.
We are hoping that we will speak to somebody from the communications office about it, but in good time.
Okay.
Cool stuff. We've spoken about the big reveal, blogging activity. We broke the record, Vince, yesterday for the highest number of visits since last December.
That took some work.
Yeah.
That took some work, especially after being offline for the better part of last year.
Yeah, we had so many technical issues last year, dear netizens. It wasn't funny. But, from December, we've really been pushing hard. And we broke the record yesterday. Thanks to the keywords that we've been tracking and blogging about. Which you can read about if you visit our site. We told you that it is eNitiate.solutions. We welcome you to go on our blog page to see what we've been talking about. And in fact, we will talk to those keywords briefly under South Africa. But let's ask the question, Vincent, that is, why do we track keywords that might seem random? Because, for an outfit like us, you would think, guys, you are into content solutions. Why are you tracking all these keywords that are related to the major events across the world, not in South Africa only? Here are a few things that we'd like you, dear netizens, to think about. The first one is social media is about current affairs that get associated with many other events, past and present, and more than that, you find that typically social netizens are mentioning brands when they're talking about all sorts of things. Think about "Give That Man a Bell," which is related to bells, it gets used a lot of times, and that's the reason why we're tracking all sorts of keywords which to the naked eye may seem random, but actually they are part of what we do. The second thing about it is that free content allows us to find interesting blogging topics that can be made relevant in our business space. The last one really is the fact that we keep sharpening our monitoring, tracking, and analysis skills by tracking all these sorts of topics and then doing bits of analytics on them. And people who follow us or follow the topics that we speak about, and especially on Twitter, will know that we keep posting on all sorts of things. One such interesting thing is the fact that MetroFM Music Awards is actually a global affair.
This is based on statistics.
Exactly. And let me count to you the countries that were having the most mentions about MetroFM Music Awards as it was happening, leading up to the 28th, which was the day, and on the day itself. We have South Africa, obviously, because that's where Metro FM is based as one of the big radio stations. And I think the last time, Vince, you can correct me here, there were over 4 million listeners.
Pretty much. They're right now they're doing between 4 and 5.
There you go. It was South Africa, the first one. The second one was US. Third one was Great Britain. The fourth one was Brazil, and the fifth one was Argentina, in that order.
Wow. Can we assume it's because of South Africans that are also abroad?
There is something to be said about the diaspora, but when you consider that our music is starting to be listened to across so many territories, and especially the US and Great Britain, I'm not surprised that Metro FM Awards were being spoken about in those two countries. But we also know that there are lots and lots of South Africans in those two countries specifically.
Interesting to note that no African countries other than the host itself made it into that top 5.
No. And you mentioning this, we have been saying after we did an analysis on Nollywood about 2
the collaboration,
or 3 Wednesdays ago,
and
we were saying, guys, there are opportunities to be collaborating with the Nigerians. We know that Oscar is starting to do lots and lots of work with the Nigerians, and in fact, when you watch EL Now, which is a Nigerian channel that's on 165 Bouquet on DSTV, they do a top 5 in terms of top 5 music tracks for the week. Mafigi Zolo keeps coming up with Chelete.
Right. Oh, Chelete, which they did with Davido.
There you go.
Right.
So we need to be doing lots and lots of those collaborations, and hopefully in doing so, we will get the Nigerians talking about the South African music as well.
Interesting stuff indeed. Okay, and then now the TV soapies also getting the conversation going, which is natural when you consider that soapies are meant to be, prime time talking points.
Absolutely. We've been having so many soapies introduced onto our TV screens.
Which is good for the industry.
It certainly is.
Competition.
In one respect. I'm actually keen to find out, and we're asking a question about that too. I'm keen to find out if this is good for the channels themselves. We know it's good from a competition point of view.
From an advertising point of view.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I actually don't know about advertising anymore, because there is a huge fragmentation that's taking place now. Think of it this way. At 8 o'clock lately, you have Generations,
Ashes to Ashes,
and you have Ashes to Ashes playing at the same time. Ashes to Ashes, by the way, was launched on Monday, this past Monday. And those of you who want to know anything about Ashes to Ashes, just use that hashtag on Twitter and follow the discussions about it, and you'll be surprised how well it has done in the first 2 days. And I'm certain that even tonight, people are raving about it, because it is being pitted directly against Generations. We're not going to be telling you a lot more about why that is a reason. Go look it up on Google. We have also blogged on it on our Storyfy channel, and also on our blog page on our site. Go look up on it, find it, and see what we're saying about it. But it's an interesting competition. But my fear, Vince, is that it's fragmenting the audience in so much so that it's going to be very difficult for the TV channels to be charging the premium rates that they were up until now. I guess as a brand, I shouldn't be complaining, because it means that if I want to go on primetime TV, which is between 7 and 9 o'clock,
should be easier.
It will be cheaper now. And I've got a wider bouquet of soapies that I can look at. Because when you consider that between 7 and 9 o'clock, we've got Rhythm City, we've got Generations, we've got now Ashes to Ashes, and we've got Sibaya, all of which have become really very big. I can't remember what time Uzalo is being broadcast at, but it's around that time too. So we're having lots of fun. From a choice point of view, guys have got lots to work with, but I'm sure there must be an impact somewhere, and we want to go and do some more work. And in fact, we will go and ask the channels themselves, is this good for you? Great competition, but is it good for you?
I had a very interesting comment earlier today when Mfundi Vundla, apparently Mfundi Vundla, the creator of I don't know if I'll say the former leading soapy, but he's the creator of Generations. Apparently he posted some comments online to give some feedback to the creators of Ashes to Ashes. And what was interesting to me is that he shared the same sentiment as one of our own, Bongo Musa, when he shared that the sound quality is poor and they need to work on the picture quality also. And it seems that everybody's agreeing that the sound quality of the show is poor and the cinematography is also poor. So you're right possibly in saying something will be impacted, because sometimes the rush to flood the market for other reasons can bring down the quality.
Yeah, quite interesting that we're seeing a development of that sort. Let's just hope that we will not get to a situation. And interestingly, I'm reading The End of Big. The End of Big. That's the title of the book, and it has been written by a gentleman called Nico Mel. One thing I'm wondering about is with the end of Big, aren't we going to be sitting with a situation where, Vince, these big channels can't be doing the likes of big productions anymore because they're not making money from it? So that's where the problems could come in, because when you start having a stiff competition of that sort, it means that potentially channels are not going to be making money, so they can't be spending on big productions.
Yeah, I think it's still driving everything towards that whole content.
Yeah.
You know, people are now the owners of content.
Yes.
And channels will no longer have the big budgets nor the big authority to be the only ones that are pushing out content.
Absolutely.
If you look at the rise of the YouTube celebrities, etc., etc., so it brings for a very interesting landscape to come ahead.
Absolutely. We are about to get online to speak to Melusi. Internet is not behaving right now, so we are going to call him because we have to speak to Melusi tonight, and I'm sure all of you are going to love it. So just hang in there for us. We're going to try and call him just now so that we can speak to him about what is the impact of digital technology and media on the creative industry. We're going to chat to him just now. Hang in there. I'm going to hand over to Vincent whilst I'm sorting out Melusi so that he can get on air just now.
Okay, so we've touched a bit on what happened at eNitiate, and we've also touched a bit on what made digital headlines in South Africa. Now, crossing over and having a look at the continent, of note, our neighbors Lesotho were conducting their elections this past week, and the observers that were in town have come out with an official report to congratulate the citizens of the Mountain Kingdom for conducting what seemed to be a free and fair election. And I'm not exactly certain of when the results will be published, but it will be soon where we will find out what are the results of those elections that happened in Lesotho. And we also know that Lesotho is not the only country on the continent that is going to be holding elections. There's other many countries that are also going to be having their elections. And funny enough, I also learned earlier today that the IEC has also elected or appointed a new commissioner.
Oh, have they announced it now?
Yes. Let me just give you the fact of the name of the newly appointed commissioner. We're preparing to speak to Melusi, and while we try to get him on the line, his name is Glen Mashini.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the man that has been now appointed as the new IEC commissioner. So I'm trying to get a bit of a profile about who Glen Mashini is, but okay, are we winning with Melusi?
We are. If we can get some sound,
let me do this.
Okay.
Thank you to the team here at Radio Junta for all the technical support to make sure that the desk is.
Melusi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
How are you, man?
I'm alright, and yourself?
I'm okay, thanks, man. Thank you very much for your time. We're having our own technical this and technical that, but we're winning as we go in because we're not giving up. And for here's the funny thing about the visual radio that we busy with. We are actually hoping, when Melusi, that soon we're going to have all of this on YouTube. Because if I can tell you the frantic movement that's taking place in the studio now, we actually have the founder of Junto Group, who's helping sort out things whilst we sorting out this and sorting out that on our part. But let's get into it.
Okay.
For the netizens out there, we are so glad to have Melusi on our line. Melusi Shabalala is one of the best known creative heads in South Africa. Am I right in introducing you that way, Melusi?
Well, I mean, I won't say no. It's a great introduction. I have been in the advertising industry for quite a while.
Yeah.
And operating at senior level, definitely.
Absolutely. I must tell the netizens how we met, Melusi, and I'm not going to be long so that we really get into the meat of this. I bumped into Melusi on a Sunday. I was supposed to be going to Soweto, and I branched out. There was this restaurant which was playing some nice music, and I thought, I'm going to spend a bit of time here before I drive off. And there was Melusi, and we spent 3 hours chatting because we haven't met for such a long time, and in the process, I ended up not going to Soweto. Thanks to you, Melusi.
Oh, no, you're welcome. I mean, I showed you a really good time. So yeah, you're right to thank me.
I like that about you. You showed me a really good time. Anyway, Melusi, let's get into it, my brother. Tell us a bit about what's happening in the creative industry now in this advent of digital media. Has there been a change at all?
Yeah, look, I mean, there are a lot of things that are happening. If I look back to when I first got into the industry in 1998,
yeah,
a lot of the technologies that exist now did not exist. You know, never mind social media. There were no smartphones.
Yes.
But the interesting thing is, you know, the fundamentals of what we do not change.
Yes, you're right.
What it is that drives people to connect with a brand and build a relationship with that brand does not change. It's just now the way that we reach them and the way that we package that messaging that might have changed.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I remember you mentioned something to the effect that when I first told you about the fact that I was in digital media, you looked at me and thought, "Go away. I'm not interested in that stuff. There's life happening out there. Go waste your time someplace else."
Yeah, look, I mean, you know, it's and to be honest, the advertising industry in its traditional form, you know, has taken some time to warm up to digital. And the reality is that there were established mediums that we had mastered and we know how to work with very well. So at the beginning, it really did look like a gimmick, you know. So, but when you start looking deeper and trying to master that, and you see that, you know what, this is not a gimmick. This is a new way to reach the same people and just package your messaging differently. And also, in some respects, it's a better way. When you look at things like social media, before we've never really had conversations with our consumers. It was really a one-way dialogue. It wasn't even a dialogue, it was a soliloquy where a brand was speaking and consumers were meant to be listening. But now consumers speak back.
Yes.
Brands who are afraid of that. But in reality, now that it's a conversation, we are able to better fine-tune our messaging to be relevant to consumers, and also just brands are able to better fine-tune their product.
Absolutely, and you know, you've covered on something that I wanted to ask about, which is how are you going about your creative your creativity right now, given all these sorts of things where, you know, we used to dish out information to consumers. Now there are cases where consumers actually know more about our brands than we do.
Really, I think where that really comes in for us is that we have better insight.
Yes.
It's more on the research side, but also it's no longer the research, it's no longer the reserve of research companies.
Yes,
you know,
indeed.
Information now is freely available to all of us. And so I think the stuff that we're able to do now is better informed. It can be more targeted, and also that's a very interesting aspect for us. It can be more targeted, but also you're able to do things that are more technical and that cost much less. You know, if you look at the industry as a whole, not just advertising but marketing, budgets are shrinking.
Absolutely.
There's no longer money to do 10 million rand TV ads and the like. So if you are able to hone in to what your target audience is about, and social media and other aspects of digital media allow you to do that, you're then able to tailor your message and hit them in the nail. So versus a TV ad, let's say for instance you wanna reach a certain target audience, you are forced to produce a TV ad because exorbitant amounts of money. You put it on television, but you find that you are hitting a lot of people that you have no particular interest in.
Absolutely.
With social media and digital marketing, it is much more targeted, and you understand your audience a bit better.
Is this a good thing though, Melusi? Because given your space, you are part of the people who are trying to give services to brands and to charge them money for doing so. Now that you have to be contending with smaller budgets, is it a good thing? What's your view about it? The fact that we are now contending with smaller budgets as agencies, and it means that you can't be doing big budget creative stuff. Has it impacted on your business, or are you just finding better ways to be using the little budgets that are being dished out by brands?
No, but I think in terms of just the budget shrinking, obviously as an industry, as a whole industry, we are taking a knock.
Yeah.
The people who are taking the biggest knock are the small agencies.
Yes.
It does then force you to be nimble. It does then force you to think differently. In that, also some of the strongest agencies that are coming up with those that we've seen formerly as smaller. So when you're smaller, you think better. The bigger ones have been lazy. So these budget cuts cost them completely nothing. Because when you're a smaller agency, you're already used to working on what others will call scraps.
So true,
delivering amazing outputs from that. So it has had its benefits, but if you were a smaller agency designed to operate like a bigger agency, then yes, you're in trouble.
I see. Melusi, thanks very much, man, for your time. I just have one last question and then we can let you go. And that question is, how do aspiring creatives ensure that they are better placed to succeed in this new communications age?
And maybe this point is where I should have started. I think the fundamentals of how one creates effective creative communication and effective campaign has not changed.
Yes, as you've indicated.
With the consumer insights and the compelling creative idea that you come up with. An idea should be media neutral. The idea should live on its own. How you then execute it on the different mediums is what has come into play now. To say, okay, so this idea exists. Maybe this now, it doesn't have to sit on TV because my company can afford, or rather my clients cannot afford to have a TV budget. But I think what is still important is you need to understand people, be in tune with what people want. Because also you cannot come up with creative solutions in isolation for just you and your colleagues and your friends. So it's still a business about people, and now it's just how do you reach those people.
Cool stuff, Melusi. Thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it, man. You've shared with us some great insights, and this is really what this show is about, which is really taking digital Africa to the world, and in doing so, understanding how digital technology and digital media are impacting positively or negatively the other industries, and in this case the creative industry. Thanks, man. We will chat again. Let me tell you that you can look up Melusi Shabalala. That's his full name. He's on LinkedIn. Look him up and find out more about him. And maybe some of you would like to engage Melusi on a business level, and we also try, albeit indirectly, to create the networks, because creative heads of a professional background and who've been in the industry and who've seen things change like Melusi are not many in this day and age. So yeah, look him up. He's on LinkedIn. And Melusi, tell us if you've made some business because of our referral. How's that?
Yeah, no, business is always good. And it was really an honor for you to have me on your show. And I'm going to now. Hola,
Meauti. Thanks a lot, Melusi. Cheers for now.
No, sure, man. Yeah.
Awesome.
He's got a very good CV. I'm looking at his LinkedIn profile.
Yeah.
So go look it up. Like Brawili said, Melusi Shabalala.
Yeah.
On LinkedIn. And he's
Shabalala, not Chabalala.
I'm calling it as I see it.
Okay.
So he's an executive creative director of note. So look.
Oh yes, and Melusi has also participated in the Luris. Those of you creative heads across the continent, for that matter, you will know that we have a creative awards event that happens every year called the Luris, and Melusi has participated in the Luris both as a creative head and a judge. So he comes with an awesome and rich CV indeed. That's Melusi for you. Okay.
14 minutes before 9, yeah?
Absolutely. We hope that you enjoyed the hangout that we had, even though it was a mobile phone hangout. You see, what we tend to do here, Vince, is we find solutions. We were not going to let Melusi not have a hangout with us, and we choose to call it hangout, even though it's becoming a generic word now, all because we couldn't reach him on the internet. So we're having fun. That's for sure. So let's move on.
Let's focus on the continent now, Barawili.
Absolutely.
I've already highlighted the fact that the elections took place in Lesotho.
Yes, on the same day as the MetroFM Music Awards, which was the 28th of February.
But the reports coming out of Lesotho is that it was a very good election race.
Yes.
No unnecessary eventualities happened.
Yeah.
So big ups to the citizens of the Mountain Kingdom. I don't know when the results are coming out.
They've been coming out
in drips and drabs,
since Monday. At one stage, the current ruling coalition was in front.
Yeah.
But from what we hear, the other parties who are participating in the elections are also giving them a run for their money. I don't know what the latest results are, I must tell you. And on the subject of elections, Vince, netizens will know that we were talking about elections for quite some while now. We're really very passionate about the subject of elections because we believe that if democracy gets embedded on our continent, that can only open doors for digital technology, because the more democratic people become, the more they want access to various channels so that they can express their own views without fear of the despotic leadership that we've seen in some parts of the continent. So that is why we are tracking the elections. And we know that Nigeria postponed their elections, which were supposed to be in mid-Feb. They are now supposed to be happening end of March. We're crossing our fingers for that. I've also learned that South Sudan, who were supposed to be having their elections now in June, are looking at postponing those elections, and no one knows for how long.
Wow.
And secondly, changing the constitution so that they can give the current president a longer term in office. And those are signs that are really making me nervous. And even though this show is not about politics and all those sorts of things, I have indicated that elections and the growth of use of digital media, they tend to go hand in hand. Because we know that digital media tends to give people more freedom to be able to talk freely, freedom to talk freely. And when governments head down the line where you have one leader taking office forever and elections are being postponed, digital media is going to suffer.
I think media in general tends to suffer when such trends are dominating the scene. But
absolutely,
let's hope for the best, because we believe as Africans we are the best people to tell our very own stories. So no political environment can take over our freedom.
Absolutely. The time now is 8:49 ZA time. We are 11 minutes to go. Remember, you're listening to eNitiate Visual Radio. We are on www.radiojunto.co.za. It's an internet radio. So if you want to listen to us, you will have to tune in to Radio Junto. We here every Wednesday, 8 to 9 p.m. GMT +2. And we bring Digital Africa to the world. We'd love to get in touch with all the netizens who have interest in the stuff that we talk about, and they also want to contribute. We are welcoming you to be part of this radio show, because it's not for us only, it's actually for the rest of Africa to showcase what we can do using digital technology and associated digital media.
Okay, so in the last 10 minutes remaining in the show, we're gonna also touch on SMWLagos.
Absolutely. Social Media Week in Lagos was seriously on fire, Vincent. We have spoken about it for a good 3-4 weeks. We're proud to be doing so on an ongoing basis, and we didn't even take the time to tell those netizens who don't know the structure of Social Media Week. Social Media Week is a concept where a whole week of various social media topics is hosted in a city somewhere in the world. In September last year, as an example, there were 11 cities that were participating in the Social Media Week then. And those cities ranged from Chicago, on one hand, LA, and also Miami, and they stretched all the way to Mumbai, and some European cities were also participating. There were 11 in total. This year, I see that they have actually increased the frequency, because Social Media Week used to happen only twice a year, in Feb and in September. I see that it's going to happen in June as well, June or July, there or thereabouts. Okay. For this particular Social Media Week, there are 7 cities participating. Nigeria is the only African city, to the best of my knowledge, that started, which was in 2013. Joburg joined last year, so we now have 2 African cities participating. And I can see that they are participating at different times. Nigeria is February, Joburg was September last year, and I'm hoping that Joburg will be participating. And in fact, in our tracking, we saw that Joburg was also engaging with regards to what's happening in Social Media Week Lagos. Now, so that's a bit of a background around Social Media Week. It's really an event that I'm passionate about. Toby Daniels, whose company owns the rights to Social Media Week concept. Okay. I met him in Mumbai. We took a photo. I actually put it on Facebook. And a bit of a bragging rights here. I talk to him directly when I need passes. And sorry guys, I had to kind of name drop on this one. Anyway, here's one key highlight about Social Media Week Lagos last week. They had an event which was the closing event of Social Media Week. It was called YTech 100, and this was its 2nd year running as part of Social Media Week content. YTech 100 is basically, it picks on 100 Nigerians, young Nigerians who are making waves within the digital media space, or making waves somewhere else but using digital technology for purposes of making those waves. From the music industry to the film industry to the digital technology development themselves to media and so on and so on. They had hundreds of them in 2014. They had another 100 on Friday, which was the 27th of Feb, and it went off like a bomb. We were tracking it, and we even posted on it. And if you want to know anything more about YTech 100, visit our blog site and search for YTech 100 so that you can read up some more about it. Okay. There was participation even by a company from South Africa. Their name, if I can find it quickly, give me just one sec. Their name is Optimize Agency. Optimize Agency is a sponsorship marketing agency, and they focus specifically on football. That is what their Twitter handle says. I'm not actually surprised that, one, they focus on football because football is the biggest sport on the continent. Correct. 2, they made sure that they go to Nigeria because Nigeria is really very big on football, both local football and international football. Interestingly, Nigeria are the second biggest country after South Africa insofar as following English Premier League.
They're always featured on Fan Zone.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I was not surprised when I discovered that Optimize Agency were also part of Social Media Week Lagos. Lots and lots of companies are partnering now. I remember because I attended the very first installment of Social Media Week Lagos. There were not a lot of companies that were partners. There were so many this time around, it wasn't funny. I'm almost certain that the organizers of Social Media Week Lagos had to ask, basically decline some other companies because there were just so many participating this time around. The one thing I must just indicate on a closing note on Social Media Week Lagos is I was saddened by some of the comments though. Closing comments.
Is it?
I'll give you an example. One of the comments was, it was such a professionally run event. It was a smooth event. It's as though people were not expecting such. Why do we have to be saying it was a professionally run? As though we were expecting that it would be less than professionally
I see where you're coming from.
Event. I wasn't happy about comments like those, especially because they were coming from social netizens within the continent. It's saying that we have lower standards when it comes to staging of events within our own continent, and really it's something that we might we must be looking at and looking to change as Africans, because if we start saying all these negative things about our own continent, why do we then expect anybody else to be saying anything positive about it?
Food for thought.
So yeah, it's food for thought indeed. Vince, on the African continent as such, I have just one last point that I want to speak to, if you allow me.
I do.
I have a question to especially digital businesses that are having their operations or giving their services to Anglophone Africa. Anglophone Africa.
What is your concern?
Now, remember, from a foreign language point of view, there are about 4 main languages that are spoken on the continent. Actually 3, because the 4th one is Spanish, that's spoken only in what's the country who were hosting the AFCON now? Oh my Lord.
Equatorial Guinea.
Yes. Spanish is being spoken in Equatorial Guinea, and from my reading about it, it's the only country on the continent where Spanish is spoken. Okay?
Surprisingly so.
Yeah. So here are the top 3 foreign languages: English, French, and Portuguese. Those are the main ones. So we're asking a question here, and the question is, digital businesses who are applying their trade in Anglophone Africa, why should they be considering Francophone Africa? I know that there's a language barrier issue, and me and you were sitting in a forum somewhere today where we were sitting with the French, and we had to be relating with them based on an interpreter, and actually it was my first exposure to that environment, and it worked well. Do you agree?
I agree.
Yeah. So the question in this case is, why are primarily English-speaking businesses not keen to do business in Francophone Africa? And here I'm not speaking from fact. I might find that I'm horribly wrong by making an assumption that such digital businesses are not keen on Francophone Africa. I might be making a horribly wrong assumption in this case. So we want to ask the question, because here are the things that we'd like you to check out. Check out geographically how big Francophone Africa is. That's number 1. Secondly, check out their population size, as part of the continent. Thirdly, check out how advanced their technologies are. Lastly, check out how big their economy is as a group versus Anglophone Africa, because you might be very surprised that Francophone Africa is much bigger than we realize. We're not going to give you an answer.
Yeah.
We want you to go and check it out and get onto our social networks. Tell us what you found.
Yeah, it's got me thinking also, because it's like when you think on those 3 elements.
Absolutely.
Geography, population size, and technology.
Yeah. And actually the 4th one then being GDP. Check those things out. You may be very surprised that Francophone Africa is worth considering insofar as going into that market. And in the same way that we were talking about it now, realizing that it's 9 o'clock already, the fact that we were speaking to the French through a translator, and we did make lots and lots of progress in that meeting.
True.
So why can't English-speaking digital businesses, and I'm talking digital in this case because that's really what our show is about, why can't they find a translator and go into these French markets?
Interesting.
Absolutely.
That's a great question mark to leave it at.
Yes.
As a pause for next week.
Absolutely.
Hopefully somebody will engage us between now and next week.
We'd love that.
To answer this question. It has been another installment of eNitiate Visual Radio with myself, Vince West, and Brawili. And we look forward to the next 7 days where we're going to be gathering all sorts of insights that we will share with you. But thank you for tuning in today. Let's meet next week, Wednesday, from 8 until 9 GMT plus 2 time.